get stuck. Believe it or not, here comes a brother with glow, a snuggling, bubbling, overweight love. Nothing but love for you, baby. I got nothing but love. I want somebody to love me for me, not because I'm MC Heavy D. I should have kept it real when I was with you. Instead I dissed you, so now I miss you, true.
But let's not forget, Heavy D was a heartthrob in his own right. Despite his larger frame, he carried himself with confidence and had no doubts about his appeal. He famously said, "My sex appeal has nothing to do with looks. It's about personality. I feel sexy." That self-assured attitude made him a fan favorite and a role model for men who didn't fit the typical mold of hip-hop stars. Long before rap features on pop tracks became the industry standard, Heavy D was already breaking boundaries. In 1989, he teamed up with Janet Jackson for her hit song, Alright, marking one of the earliest examples of hip-hop and pop blending seamlessly. This move set the stage for future collaborations between rappers and mainstream artists, proving that hip-hop could be both street and commercial at the same time. Heavy D showed the world that hip-hop and pop could work together perfectly. But things really took off in 1992 when he teamed up with Michael Jackson on Jam from the Dangerous album. That's right, one of the biggest rappers and the king of pop on the same track. It was a historic moment. Heavy D wasn't just making hits, he was opening doors for the rap-pop collaborations we see today. And he didn't stop there. He climbed even higher in the industry, later becoming the senior vice president at Universal Music. He wasn't just a star, he became a powerful figure behind the scenes. Some people in the industry whispered that Heavy D's clean image made him stand out. Unlike Tupac and Biggie, he stayed out of feuds and focused on building his career. This made him a favorite with the mainstream media, but not all hip-hop fans liked it. Some thought he played it too safe. But just when he seemed to have it all, life threw some devastating challenges his way. In 1990, Heavy D and his crew, the Boys, suffered a heartbreaking loss when Trouble T-Roy passed away after a tragic fall. If his name sounds familiar, that's because his death inspired the classic They Reminisce Over You, T-R-O-Y, by Pete Rock and CL Smooth. That song remains one of the most respected tracks in hip-hop history. Heavy D was deeply affected by T-Roy's passing, and many say he was never quite the same after it. He dedicated the platinum album Peaceful Journey to his lost friend. Just a year later, in 1991, another tragedy struck. Heavy D was hosting a charity basketball game at City College of New York to raise awareness for AIDS education. It was meant to be a fun event, but the turnout was way beyond what anyone expected. Around 5,000 fans showed up, completely overwhelming a venue that could safely hold only 2,000. The overcrowding led to a horrifying stampede that took the lives of 9 people. The media exploded with blame. Fingers were pointed at the events, organizers, the city, and the college. And as expected, some critics unfairly blamed rap culture itself. When the legal dust settled, a judge ruled that City College was 50% responsible for the tragedy, while Heavy D and Sean Diddy Combs were held accountable for the other half. Families of the victims received settlements, with Diddy personally paying out $40,000. The scandal forced City College officials to rethink how they manage student-run events. Surprisingly, despite the huge loss of life, no criminal charges were ever filed. These back-to-back tragedies weighed heavily on Heavy D. After dominating the music scene for years, he took a step back and shifted his focus toward acting. And he was good at it. He made memorable appearances on Living Single, worked alongside Eddie Murphy, and proved that he was more than just a rapper. He had real screen presence. But behind the scenes, there were signs of trouble. In 2011, he made a surprise return to the stage at the BET Hip Hop Awards, and fans were thrilled. He looked and sounded great, and it felt like the comeback everyone had been hoping for. But just a month later, tragedy struck again. Heavy D collapsed outside his home in Beverly Hills and was rushed to the hospital. The cause? A pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in his lung. Doctors believed it might have been triggered by a long flight from London. He also suffered from arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease, which only made his condition worse. At the time of his passing, he weighed 344 pounds, and his weight was considered a factor in his health problems. However, before rumors could start, doctors confirmed that no drugs or alcohol were involved. It was simply a tragic combination of health complications that ended his life far too soon. Fans were stunned. One minute he was performing, and the next he was gone. At the time of his death, Heavy D's net worth was estimated at $6 million, built from his music, acting, and business moves. But money wasn't his real legacy. He changed the game in hip-hop, showing that you could be a top-charting rapper while keeping things fun and positive. He made space for bigger-bodied artists to own their confidence, mixed hip-hop with R&B. Heavy D was larger than life, a hip-hop icon with unmatched confidence, style, and moves that could light up any stage. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a full package bringing swagger, energy, and undeniable charisma wherever he went. The name Heavy D carries weight in hip-hop history, and for good reason. He didn't just dominate the rap scene with smooth flows and feel-good hits. He also shattered stereotypes, proving that size didn't define talent or stage presence. He made it clear that big guys could take over the spotlight, owning every moment with charm, confidence, and dance moves that made the crowd go wild. But his talent didn't stop at rapping. Heavy D was what you'd call a triple threat, an artist, an executive, and an actor. His career wasn't just about dropping hit records. He helped shape the sound of hip-hop and R&B while making waves in Hollywood. He had a front-row seat in some of the biggest moments in hip-hop history, rubbing shoulders with legends and making unexpected appearances in film and TV. But his story wasn't all about fame, red carpets, and platinum records. There was also an unexpected turn that left fans heartbroken. So what really happened to the man behind the worldwide hit, Now That We Found Love? Heavy D was born Dwight Arrington Myers in Jamaica in 1967. His parents, Ula Lee, a nurse, and Clifford Vincent Myers, a machine technician, raised him in a home filled with culture and music. His mother's family came from St. Elizabeth, while his father's roots traced back to Mandeville. Even as a child, Heavy D had something special about him, a natural rhythm and a love for music that would later define his legacy. In the early 1970s, his family relocated to Mount Vernon, New York. It was there that Heavy D was introduced to the raw electric energy of 1980s hip-hop while still staying connected to the reggae, ska, and dancehall sounds of his Jamaican roots. This unique blend of influences shaped his signature style, a mix of smooth rap, catchy melodies, and infectious beats. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a whole movement. By the late 80s, Heavy D put together a crew that would become legendary, Heavy D and the Boys. They weren't just another rap group. They brought a fresh, clean sound that made hip-hop fun, danceable, and accessible to a wide audience. At the heart of it all was Heavy D himself, smooth, stylish, and full of confidence. Backing him up were his hype men, G-Wiz, Glenn Parrish, and Trouble T-Roy, Troy Dixon, along with DJ and producer Eddie F. Edward Farrell, the mastermind behind the beats. Together, they created a sound that had fans vibing across the country. Their music wasn't just about lyrics. It was about energy, movement, and feel-good anthems that kept people dancing. But success didn't come easy. Heavy D and Eddie F. hustled hard to break into the music industry. When they first approached Russell Simmons, the mogul behind Def Jam, he wasn't feeling their sound. That could have been the end of the road. But fate had other plans. Enter Andre Harrell, a visionary who saw their potential and signed them as the very first artists under Uptown Records in 1986. That deal set the stage for a game-changing career. Heavy D wasn't just another artist on the label, he was a force to be reckoned with. While making hit records, he also played a major role behind the scenes, helping shape the direction of Uptown Records. He even convinced Andre Harrell to take a chance on a young intern named Sean Diddy Combs. And we all know how that turned out. Diddy became one of the most influential figures in music history, but Heavy D didn't stop there. When Uptown Records' CEO stepped down, he stepped up, taking over as president and CEO. Under his leadership, the label helped define the sound of 90s hip-hop and R&B, working with legendary acts and powerhouse producers. His connections ran deep. He collaborated with Teddy Riley, Marley Marl, DJ Premier, and his own cousin Pete Rock, along with Uptown's resident genius, Eddie F. This lineup of talent helped craft some of the biggest hits of the era. Beyond music, Heavy D had an eye for talent. He played a huge role in developing the R&B group Soul for Real, the voices behind the classic Candy Rain. Not only did he serve as their executive producer, but he also wrote several songs on their debut album, helping them reach success. But perhaps one of his most legendary discoveries was the R&B queen Monifa, proving that his instincts for talent were unmatched. Heavy D wasn't just a hip-hop star, he was a devoted father as well. In 2000, he welcomed his daughter, Z Myers, with celebrity chef Antonia LaFaso. Those closest to him say he was the ultimate girl dad, making sure he was always present in her life despite his busy career. Music journalist Dream Hampton even revealed that Heavy D made it a point never to miss breakfast with his daughter, no matter what. He was a family man through and through.